Hello viewers, I'm your host Uzma Jaffrey with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show with Sri Lanka, where a major political crisis cropped up after President Maithripala Sirisena, in a shocking turn of events, sacked the government led by Ranil Wickremesinghe and appointed Mahinda Rajapaksa as new Prime Minister of the country. While Sirisena claimed that the ruling party had lost the majority in the parliament, Wickremesinghe has called it an undemocratic and unconstitutional exercise. A report.
Ever since October 27, when the country woke up to a new Prime Minister, there has been a severe political crisis in the island nation. Former Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is considered to be extremely close to the Chinese establishments, was sworn in as a Prime Minister on October 26 after President Maithripala Sirisena sacked the incumbent Ranil Wickremesinghe government. While Sirisena justified his move saying it was motivated by a plot to kill him and by economic collapse, Wickremesinghe maintained that the move was illegal, saying he was still the Prime Minister and had the support of a majority of lawmakers.
I am the Prime Minister under Article 42 of the Constitution in accordance with the 19th Amendment. There was a motion of no confidence against me in Parliament. It was defeated. A majority voted against it, showing that they had confidence in me. That situation has not changed. Since I have a majority, I remain as the Prime Minister and I will function as the Prime Minister.
නව රජයට මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහතුමා අගමැති වශයෙන් පත් කළ මේ රටේ සියලු දේශපාලන පක්ෂ මේ රටේ සියලු රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන් සියලු ආගමික පූජකතුමන්ලා මේ රටේ සමස්ත පුරවැසියන්ගෙන් මා ඊටාම ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා සමගියේ ශක්තියෙන් සහෝදරත්වයේ බැඳීමෙන් මිත්‍රත්වයේ ඒ මහා යෝධ හස්තෙන් අපි මේ රට කොට ගන්න සියලු දෙනා එකට එකතු වෙමු.
As soon as Rajapaksa was sworn in, Sirisena dissolved the parliament. Wickremesinghe continuously maintained that he had the required majority in the parliament. His claim was proven right to an extent when the no-confidence motion against him was defeated. The drama evoked severe protest in the Indian Ocean country, where people gathered in thousands in support of the ousted Prime Minister. More than 10,000 protesting supporters of Ranil Wickremesinghe brought parts of capital Colombo to a standstill. Thousands of protesters gathered near Wickremesinghe residence to hear him speak, holding signs demanding Sirisena to preserve democracy.
මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිතුමා මේ වරම කඩලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව පැත්තකට දාලා යලිත් විධායක බලය ජනාධිපති අතට ගන්න තත් කරනවා.
The protest turned violent at some instances, even leading to deaths. On October 28, merely 2 days after the crisis unfolded, one person lost his life when a sacked cabinet minister tried to re-enter his office. Former Sri Lankan cricketer, captain of the 1996 winning squad and petroleum minister in the toppled cabinet, Arjun Ranatunga, was the minister who was reportedly held hostage in the office for trying to re-enter.
මට එන්න කියලා තිබ්බා පොලිසියට ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්න කියලා මම ආවම උසාවියට ඉදිරිපත් කරා. ඉතින් මම දන්නවා අධිකරණයේ සාධාරණත්වයේ ඉෂ්ට වෙයි කියලා. වරදි පුද්ගලයෝ කවුද කියන එක ඉදිරියේදී හරි විදිහට තේරුම් ගන්නවා.
Pressure, however, mounted on Sri Lankan President Sirisena to uphold the island nation's constitution and reconvene parliament after his decision to replace the Prime Minister triggered a political turmoil. As a result, Sirisena had to finally lift the suspension of parliament, and he summoned a meeting of the legislature to end the political stalemate over the sudden sacking of Wickremesinghe on November 5.
Some murmurs and conspiracy theories in the international political circles are suspecting Chinese role in bringing Rajapaksa back into power, as the proximity between the former Sri Lankan president and China is in no hidden secret. To give us more insights into the story, we have Ms. Smriti Patnaik, an expert on political affairs of South Asia, with us. Ms. Patnaik, how do you see and analyze the overnight drama in Sri Lanka?
I think it is shocking and unexpected. And though everybody knew that there is bitterness between President Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, and they have differences of opinion of many of the issues that is confronting the country, but such kind of which I would term it as a constitutional coup was definitely not expected.
Was the move to suspend the parliament by Sirisena meant to buy time to engineer crossovers from Wickremesinghe's side to Rajapaksa in the 225-member parliament to reach the 113 majority mark?
I think you are absolutely correct. This move, many suspect that is a move to buy the member of parliament who are from the UNP, that is the party which is headed by Ranil Wickremesinghe. Though it is very much true that within the UNP there are dissatisfaction, and many people feel that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe actually has functions in a very arbitrary manner, and there has been tussle within the party to as far as the leadership is concerned. But if you look at the no trust vote which he passed in the parliament, actually demonstrated that the party, in spite of the differences of opinion between the senior leaders of the UNP, the party remains united.
Thank you, Ms. Patnaik. Moving on to Pakistan, where a number of radical Islamist parties are out on the streets protesting the acquittal of Asia Bibi, a Christian woman who was accused of making derogatory remarks about Islam after neighbors objected to her drinking water from their glass because she was not a Muslim. However, a 3-judge panel set up to hear the appeal ruled that evidence was insufficient for her conviction. We have a report.
Demonstrations against the release of Asia Bibi snowballed violent as radical Islamists protesting the acquittal of Asia Bibi, a Christian woman on death row for blasphemy allegations, clashed with police and burnt motorbikes snatched from riders. Shouting, "Beheading is the only remedy for a blasphemer, countless curse on Asia. Our lives are for sacrifice to prophets." Hundreds of protesters from ultra-Islamist parties blocked roads of cities of Karachi and Lahore.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ पाकिस्तान ने यकतरफा जो फैसला किया है आसिया मौलाना की रिहाई का, हम इसे किसी कीमत पर कबूल नहीं करते। हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ पाकिस्तान से ये दरख्वास्त करते हैं कि वह अपने इस फैसले पर नज़र-ए-सानी करें और इसी तरीके से लार्जर बेंच तश्कील दिया जाए और शरीयत अपीलेटिव बेंच तश्कील दिया जाए, जिससे इस केस को दोबारा समाअत फरमाया जाए और आसिया मौलाना को उसी तरीके से करार वाक़ई सज़ा दी जाए जो हाई कोर्ट, लोअर कोर्ट और इस तरीके से अदालतों ने दी है।
Top leadership of Tehreek-e-Labbaik, the party which was founded to support the blasphemy laws and has paralyzed various cities since the acquittal of Bibi, called for the death of Saqib Nisar, the Chief Justice and the 2 other judges on the panel. It has also sought the ouster of Khan's new government and demanded the immediate sacking of the army chief, Qamar Jawed Bajwa. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan issued a warning to the religious right that any prolonged blockade of streets would be met with action.
मैं इन अनासर को अपील करता हूँ कि रियासत से ना टकराना। मैं आपको ये अपील करता हूँ कि इस मुल्क की खातिर जो कि मुश्किल बुरात से निकल रहा है और अल्लाह का शुक्र है आगे अच्छा वक्त आ रहा है, आप अपनी सियासत चमकाने के लिए, अपने वोट बैंक के लिए इस मुल्क को नुकसान ना पहुँचाएं। अगर आप ये करेंगे, मैं आपको ये वाज़ेह कर दूँ कि रियासत अपनी ज़िम्मेदारी पूरी करेगी, लोगों की प्रॉपर्टीज़, लोगों की जान और माल की हिफाजत करेगी। हम कोई तोड़ फोड़ नहीं होने देंगे, हम कोई ट्रैफिक नहीं रुकने देंगे। मैं आपको अपील करता हूं कि रियासत को उधर तक ना लेके जाएं, वो मजबूर हो जाएं एक्शन लेने के लिए।
Ever since the case touched the international prominence, international organization had been scaling up pressure on Pakistan government and had compelled judiciary to carry out a fair trial in the case. Immediately after the release of Bibi, the lawyers of complainants said that they were looking for all the options available to continue the case. However, in reality, they have exhausted all.
अभी डिटेल जजमेंट आ जाएगी, फिर देखते हैं उसमें क्या होएगा। और फर्दर ये कि उसमें हमने नेक्स्ट हमारा क्या स्टेप होगा, हम क्या करना चाहेंगे, उसमें जजमेंट देखने के बाद देखेंगे। अगर कोई रेमेडी लीगली तौर पे हमें अवेलेबल है तो ज़रूर इंशाल्लाह हम अवेल करेंगे।
Asia Bibi, a mother of 4, in 2010 became the first woman to be sentenced to death under Pakistan's draconian blasphemy law. Bibi was sentenced to death for allegedly making derogatory remarks about Islam after neighbors objected her drinking water from their glass because she was not Muslim. She appealed to the Supreme Court, which concluded proceedings few days back but had reserved its judgment.
Moving on. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Japanese counterpart met on 13th India-Japan bilateral summit held in the Japanese city of Tokyo. Apart from reviewing the entire gamut of ties, both the leaders signed a number of deals and agreements in order to further deepen the ties. A report.
In a bid to deepen the strategic ties and develop a synergy across various fields between the two countries, including economy and security, Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi and Japan Shinzo Abe met in Tokyo for the 13th Indo-Japan Bilateral Summit. While asserting that the relationship of Japan and India is blessed with the largest potential for development for any bilateral relationship anywhere in the world, Abe pledged to offer a 316 billion yen loan for 7 projects to be materialized across India. Modi and Abe said that they would begin regular talks between their foreign and defense ministers and committed to extending cooperation in areas ranging from agriculture and digital technology to investment in Indian rail projects and infrastructure.
閣僚級2+2を新たに立ち上げます。防衛分野では日印間で陸海空の交流を強化します。さらなる防衛協力の円滑化と進化のため、日印物品、役務、相互提供協定の交渉開始で一致しました。海洋安全保障、海洋状況把握に関する海上自衛隊とインド海軍との間の協力取り組みを作成しました。宇宙やサイバーの分野でも協力を深めていきます。そのため、日印宇宙対話を新たに立ち上げます。
हमारे बीच पूरी सहमति है कि हम अपने सहयोग को डिजिटल पार्टनरशिप से साइबर स्पेस तक, स्वास्थ्य से रक्षा सुरक्षा तक और सागर से अंतरिक्ष तक हर क्षेत्र में अबाध गति देंगे।
Both asserted that they would conclude a $75 billion bilateral currency swap agreement and welcomed an agreement to deepen cooperation between their two navies. While discussing the increasingly volatile issue of a nuclearized Korean peninsula, Abe said India and Japan have joined hands in their efforts to resolve the situation in North Korea to make the Korean peninsula free of nuclear threat. Modi held meetings with business leaders and venture capitalists in Tokyo and invited Japan businesses to speed up and exploit investment in his country and further strengthen economic ties between the two Asian giants.
मैं आप सभी को भारत में निवेश की गति बढ़ाने के लिए भी आमंत्रित करना चाहता हूं। मैं आपको आश्वस्त करता हूं कि जापान और भारत के बीच व्यापारिक रिश्तों को और मजबूत करने के लिए आपकी हर संभव मदद की जाएगी।
India has been taking significant steps in improving the business atmosphere in the country and has been successful in attracting huge investments owing to lenient regulations. In a boost to the government, the country jumped 23 ranks to reach at the 77th spot in the World Bank Index of Ease of Doing Business. Ties between India and Japan have blossomed as Modi and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe increasingly see eye to eye in countering growing Chinese assertiveness across Asia.
Japanese investment into India has surged in areas ranging from automotives to infrastructure in the remote northeast, making Tokyo its third largest foreign direct investor. Moving on. Bangladesh and Myanmar have agreed to begin the repatriation process of Rohingya refugees by mid-November. Both the countries have said that the hundreds of thousands of refugees who fled their homes last year owing to violence will be sent back through a systematic process. While many have applauded the decision, many others, including United Nations, have raised apprehensions, citing the atmosphere in the country not conducive for a safe, dignified and voluntary return. A report.
Months after a repatriation deal was signed between Bangladesh and Myanmar, two countries have finally decided to safely send hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees who have been living in the flimsy shelters of Cox's Bazar back to their homes. The two countries had earlier signed a deal in the month of November in which a repatriation was to begin in 2 months. However, it could not materialize owing to multiple bottlenecks, including absence of systematic process and reluctance of Rohingya to return, citing a hostile atmosphere.
We are looking forward to start the repatriation by mid-November.
Next month.
Next month.
Yes.
Mid-November. It is the first group.
First phase, we call it.
Yeah. Yes. And just a minute. No. You also know that the members of the two joint working group will be going together to Cox's Bazar to meet Rohingya populations. There they will also try and encourage those people who have left northern Rakhine as to go back in safety and security.
And then we came up with the very concrete results on the commencement of the repatriation.
More than 700,000 Rohingya refugees crossed from the west of mostly Buddhist Myanmar into Bangladesh from August last year, when Rohingya insurgent attacks on the Myanmar security forces triggered a sweeping military response. Various right groups and the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Refugees, however, are not convinced with the proposed exercise, as they believe that the conditions in Myanmar are still not favorable for Rohingya to repatriate.
We still face restrictions in terms of access for the aid agencies, for the media, for other independent observers, and at the same time there are still a number of Rohingya refugees who are arriving into Bangladesh. Since January this year alone, another 14,000 have crossed the border and have entered Bangladesh. The conditions on the ground right now are not conducive for the safe, dignified and voluntary return of refugees.
Rohingya and other Muslims in 3 townships suffer hardship and economic vulnerability due to restrictions on their movement, and the prevailing sentiment is fear and mistrust. Refugees in Bangladesh have also expressed their apprehensions returning to their land, as Myanmar doesn't consider the Rohingya a native ethnic group. Many in the Buddhist majority country call the Rohingya Bengalis, suggesting they belong to Bangladesh.
But we would not believe the Myanmar government, because they are saying one thing and doing another thing. Every time, every day, every seconds, they're lying. So we don't believe the Myanmar government. We need the international protection. And also another thing is they are lying about our ethnicity. They call us a Bengali, but we don't Bengali, never. Before independence, we lived in the Myanmar. We have every kind of document. And also Myanmar government recognized us as the Rohingya ethnic. But at that time, Myanmar government denied that. If Myanmar government do not restore us as the Rohingya ethnicity, we don't go back in our original homeland.
UNHCR has completed 2 phases of assessment in Rakhine State, but has failed to capture the exact reality of the situation, as it has been given only a limited access. It says the necessary safeguards are absent in the region and the restrictions have only grown of late.
Rohingya are still crossing the border into Bangladesh, with nearly 14,000 arriving this year, according to UNHCR. Moving on to Afghanistan, where insurgent group Taliban continue to carry out attacks even after the much-awaited parliamentary elections were finally held in the war-torn country. Suicide bombings and blasts have worsened the security situation in the country as extremist groups continue to unleash mayhem in the country. A report.
Rattled by the successful conduct of the democratic exercise of elections, Taliban insurgents have further ratcheted up their violent campaign in the war-torn country, thereby giving another dent to an already fragile security situation of the country. A sudden escalation in the number of suicide bombers blowing themselves up, a plot used by Taliban in order to cause maximum damage to the property and lives, has sent alarming bells ringing to Kabul, as well as international forces that have been perennially involved in protecting the gullible citizens from Taliban resurgence. Two major attacks, which largely targeted the election officers and security personnel, claimed 6 lives and injured many others in a matter of hours. After failing to resist people from casting their ballot, Taliban has resorted to desperate violent operations to seize hold of offices where the counting is underway. The recent attack came as the officials at the Independent Election Commission (IEC) had begun counting the votes in 32 of the 34 provinces that had polled recently.
دیگه سودا میگرفتم در پیش دکان که یک انتحاری 8 دابود یک انتحاری صورت گرفت که غرام شد خوب قوی سعی کردیم که دود برآمد از در کوچه کمیسیون انتخابات.
However, the security situation in Afghanistan has not deteriorated only after the elections. The condition has surely worsened, but the Taliban has been carrying out its heinous acts of violence almost for decades now. In the run-up to the elections, several blasts and suicide bombings had killed and injured numerous people. The violent forces have not only murdered people, but have also forced upon them economic and cultural crisis. The Herat province, a traditional trading hub in western Afghanistan, bordering with Iran in the west and Turkmenistan in the north, has stirred the business opportunities in the province. The Taliban group and the extremist group who were entrenched in Badghis province in Herat's north and Farah province in its south have caused increasing trouble, forcing many companies to withdraw from Herat.
تا طرف خواستن شرکت پروژه بسته شد یک اینجا کار خود کم کردن و او پرسونل که اینجا کار میکردن اونا معاش داشتن خانه به کرا گرفته بودن اونا مصرف میکردن این کل سر بازار اقتصاد تاثیر خوب داشت ولی با کم شدن او کمک ها و پروژه طبیعتا او عواید مردم کاهش یافته و این یک تاثیر.
The security crisis in Afghanistan refuses to die down as the Taliban and extremist groups who enjoy the backing of Pakistan continue their acts of terror in the country.
The leadership has accused Islamabad time and again of nurturing terrorists on its soil. Now I leave you with some images of the gigantic Statue of Unity, now the tallest statue of the world, unveiled by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Narmada district of Indian state of Gujarat. Goodbye and take care.